true story of an iconic American character, the pool shark. Think Paul Newman in the movie The Hustler, smoothly casing the pool hall. The screen legend once told me that he has a face that does not belong to a crook. Of course, that could be precisely the trick up the hustler's sleeve. And as Bill Weir discovered, the figure of the lovable fiend indoors.
There was a day when Danny Basovich could walk into a joint like this anywhere in America, play for 5 or 10 hours, and walk out with 5 or 10 grand. But those days are gone, because Danny did the one thing no pool hustler ever wants to do. He got famous.
Danny, how are you, buddy?
How you doing, Joe?
Good.
And only a fool would play a money game with Kid Delicious.
Nobody will gamble with me anymore. Nobody will come in, even great players. Nobody will play, even with a handicap. All right, I'll break them.
I wanted said I spotted Kid Delicious to break.
You got it. You got it.
These days, they only play him for the lesson.
You might be able to kick here and maybe hit.
Right. I couldn't do that.
Making him a walking myth at age 29. But in this game, it ain't the years, it's the miles. And before Kid Delicious became the top-ranked player in the world, before he beat his heroes in epic matches, Danny spent his youth taking money off of bangers and hustlers in every one of the lower 48.
So where did you get the nickname Kid Delicious?
I was 16 years old, and there was this kid, this little skinny guy, that was the top player at the time at this pool room, and his nickname was Kid Vicious. And while I was playing him, they said, Kid Vicious is getting beat by Kid Delicious.
And you were offended by it? Or
no, I liked it. I actually thought it was great. But, you know, they were more or less probably making fun of me more than anything.
It wasn't the first time he'd been taunted for his size. As a sensitive kid in New Jersey, the teasing literally drove him out of high school and into a deep clinical depression.
I really was almost telling my parents that I wasn't going to live anymore, you know, and I was going to just die. And I walked into the pool room, and I picked up a pool cue and started playing a few games. And right away, I had the biggest smile on my face. Oh, God.
He rode his bike to the pool hall every day, and soon he was beating the regulars. Revenge fueled his first real hustles. He sought out the kind of guys who once picked on him.
Some of these guys are huge guys that are lifting 400 pounds.
The jocks who shot pool at the Rutgers University Student Union.
And I walk in there with 3 pieces of cake sitting at the table. I'm taking a bite and dropping it on the floor, and it's all over my face, and I'm sweating, and I take out my money, and it's like all $100 bills, and I drop it on the floor by accident. And now their eyes are open.
Like shooting fish in a barrel, yeah?
Yeah, like a bee on honey, you know what I mean?
With dreams of playing on the Pro Tour, Kid Delicious hit the road to hone his skills. He learned that hustling is a feast or famine proposition.
So you'd go into these halls blind, maybe beat the best guy, maybe not, maybe the guy wasn't there, maybe in the wrong place.
Yeah, I was one of the cockiest guys, too. I thought I could beat anyone in the world, and I figured I could beat them on any day and on any pool table. And what people don't realize is every table's different. It's like night and day. And if you walk in there, you got to play a guy who's playing every day on his table, right, with his balls, and he's playing his best. And now you got to walk in there, and you can't practice.
Can't bring your own stick. That tips them off right away, right?
Absolutely. Like sometimes if the competition is really high, maybe I use a sneaky Pete. It looks just like a house cue, but it screws together. I'd even put it together, walk in the pool, and put it right on the wall, right with the other cues. Once they put the money on the table and the bet's down, this is what I'll do.
In the joints where he couldn't find a decent game, he would lure sucker bets on seemingly impossible shots.
There we go. That's how I get my hotel money right there. They love that one, I'll tell you that.
Even if they realize they've been hustled, they'll still pay you.
Believe it or not, there's an honor and a code when it comes to pool that you're supposed to pay when you lose. I won about $500,000 playing pool for money. And it was a lot of the money, I ain't gonna lie. I blew a lot of it doing crazy things, but I had a hell of a time.
Around the time the poker boom began to lure gamblers out of pool halls and into card rooms, Danny's name began to circulate on the internet. For him, the hustle was dead, and the Pro Tour was the next logical step.
And Kid Delicious, if you haven't seen him play, you're in for something different.
But he failed miserably in his first tournaments and sank back into the familiar blackness.
I went home, and I couldn't get out of bed for like 6 weeks. The gambling was done, dried up, and now I couldn't beat anybody. And between my mom and my dad, they got me to go back playing and get on the tour. And in 2004, I ended up going from rank like 800 in the world to rank #1.
But just as he hit his pro groove, the International Pool Tour went bankrupt. The mounting stress gave Kid Delicious a heart attack. But as he sees it, the constant setbacks are just more material for Kid Delicious, the movie.
Well, you don't leave much when you miss, do you, Batman? That's what the game's all about.
It's been 46 years since Newman and Gleason put this game and this life on the big screen. In The Hustler, I'm back. 21 years since The Color of Money. We're due for another great pool film. And after selling his story to Hollywood, Danny hears that...
Come on, dude.
Jack Black is in talks to play him on screen. But even if that doesn't happen, even if he doesn't get back to #1, Kid Delicious will still be chalking that cue, wiping that brow, and chasing his bliss across the green felt ocean.
I have a very hard time. I'm always thinking about the past or the future. You know what I mean? Worrying about, about being heavy or worrying about something else that somebody said. And once I start playing pool, all I do is think about the balls and the angles and stuff like that. And my mind just gets lost and I end up on a cloud and just in a happy place.
For Nightline, I'm Bill Weir
You take a check?
in Brooklyn, New York.
No doubt Bill is in Brooklyn tonight looking for another pool table. Basovich is also the subject of a recent book, Running the Tape. And when we come back, the Democrats' war over words.